Hello, you're watching RTD's English News Edition, the headlines. The President of the Republic inaugurates a new private medical center this morning. In other international news, the United Nations Secretary General calls the world to take inspiration from Mandela. Thank you for joining us in our newsroom. The President of the Republic inaugurates a new private medical center. The COM Clinic and Diagnosis Center is the name of the inaugurated medical facility, which is a high-tech complex. It is made up of several health departments, including medical imaging, consulting services, and an ultra-modern medical analysis laboratory. Upon his arrival at the clinic, the President of the Republic was greeted by the President of the COM Clinic and Diagnosis Center, Mr. Said Omar Musa, surrounded by his staff, including Vice President Amina Said Omar and members of the government. President Anglais then unveiled the commemorative plaque and participated in the ribbon cutting ceremony. This new private health complex incorporates structures and arrangements to treat all types of diseases. It has, in this sense, units of consultation and treatment for care in general medicine, cardiology, endoscopy, pediatric, neurology, and gynecology. Equipped with highly sophisticated medical equipment, the COM Clinic and Diagnosis Center also has important means to quickly perform any type of health analysis. Many government officials and representatives of the private sector, including President Yusuf Musa Douale, also took part in the inauguration ceremony of the new clinic and center offering health services. According to the promoters, COM Clinic aims to be at the forefront of health services by offering quality care to clients, to Djiboutian patients and others. The opening of this modern private clinic will, with the state-of-the-art sanitary facilities, will strengthen the supply of care in our country and prevent the displacement of some patients abroad for care. And after the opening ceremony under the patronage of the President of the Republic, we had an interview with a pharmacist. Let's listen to him.
Today I'm honored and pleased that the President of the Republic has inaugurated the COM Clinic and Diagnostic Center. The idea to do that was just as a pharmacist and being a medical health worker. My experience was in the pharmaceutical business. I got the idea to start in Djibouti the first type of this activity, a diagnostic center where you will find all imagery. When I say imagery, it's two different departments for the diagnostic. One is the imagery. It is composed of, on top is the MRI, middle CT scan, third is the normal X-ray, and fourth is the ultrasound. As far as the laboratory is concerned, we have fully automatic machines, both the last generation of equipment, where you have your analysis. There are a lot of tests that people send outside. I think while I was the head of the chamber, we have been discussing with the government, with the president, that we should have public-private dialogue. I'm glad to say after I left the chamber, our president, Yusuf Musa Douale, have finished that work that we have started, and there's now a public-private dialogue. If we have arrived to have this public-private dialogue, definitely the assistance, everything should not be done by the government. The private sector could play a role, especially in the health field, that certain things that will be, that the government needs, I will not say they can do everything, but with the needs that exist, with the level of the population, there is a big space that the private sector could play, helping this dialogue, public-private activity.
That was the pharmacist at the new clinic. Now continuing with the news, under the leadership of the Prime Minister Abdul Qadir Kamil Mohammed, the MINFAB today organized the traditional graduation ceremony of the baccalaureate for the best candidates of the various general and technical fields. The event took place in Kempinski Palace Hotel, attended by members of the government and many public figures. This year's ceremony was dedicated to innovation and excellence. After a high-class branch, it was the promotions major, the young Muhammad Mahmoud, who paid a lot of tribute to the Minister of National Education, but also to his teachers and parents for accompanying him throughout his school year. And following the official interventions, the Prime Minister and the Minister of National Education presented awards and diplomas to the best graduates of the 2018 class of General and Vocational Baccalaureate. And finally, it should be noted that the same ceremony took place at the same time in the 5 interior regions under the leadership of members of the government. This is the second year in a row that the ceremony has been decentralized thanks to the fruitful cooperation between the MINFAB and the ministry dedicated to the decentralization. And then the Minister of National Education and Vocational Training, Mr. Mustafa Muhammad Mahmoud, who first welcomed the success rate approaching 50% this year, with more than 800 mentioned as success that he put to the credit of the students who have made colossal efforts, but also the teachers and the pedagogical and administrative managers who did not spare their sentence during all the school year. More generally, the minister stressed that the instructions of the head of state were clear to make the Djiboutian school an instructive and educative, inclusive, unifying school around our values and ideals, elevating Djiboutians above all, he said. And the Prime Minister Abdul Qadir Kamil Mohammed congratulated all the winners of the Baccalaureate 2018. He paid tribute to the success of the MINFAB, which reached the result of 50% in the success rates, with more than 550 mentioned in the General Baccalaureate and more than 250 mentioned in the Professional Baccalaureate. On behalf of the Head of State, Mr. Ismail Margelle, he said, and on his own behalf, the Prime Minister congratulated the Minister of Education for this great victory in the educational policy outlined by the President of the Republic, and implementation works brilliantly by the MINFAB. The Sheikh Osman Camp Engineer Unit Center hosted this Thursday, July 19, a change of command between Colonel Nigel Rege Akshir, Commander-in-Chief, and Lieutenant Sharmaki Mohammed Jama, Commanding Unit Commander. This colorful ceremony was presided over by Lieutenant General Zakaria Sheikh Ibrahim, Chief of General Staff of the Army Forces. Also in participating in this ceremony were Major General Asman Nustabakli, Chief of the Defense Staff, Brigadier General Tahir Ali Muhammad, Deputy Chief of the Defense Staff, Major General Hassan Ali Kamil, and many senior officials of the Djibouti Armed Forces. Upon his arrival, General Zakaria Sheikh Ibrahim was received by Lieutenant Colonel Dahir Hassan Abadit, Corps Commander of the Armed Regime. This ceremony of change of command began with the review of the troops by the Major General of the Army, General Zakaria, ordered the elements of the engineering unit to recognize Shamaki Muhammad Jama as a leader and to obey him in the exercise of his new role as commander. In honor of his exemplary career, General Zakaria decorated Colonel Negei Rege with the Medal of the Officer of the Great Star of Djibouti.
Gagnez votre emplacement.
The Major General of the Army, General Zakaria Shah Ibrahim, has first promoted some of the military members of this unit for their dedication and hard work and showed their satisfaction. General Zakaria urged the recipients to continue in this line and to preserve further. In his address, General Zakaria traced the exemplary career of Colonel Negeye since his current corporation in 1977 to date, a career marked by success. He said the Chief of the Defense Staff has described Colonel Negeye as a valuable senior officer who has spared no effort to live up to his responsibilities since taking office as commander of his engineering unit in 2009 and deserves to be cited as an example.
Nous arrivons aujourd'hui au terme des postes de commandement en 2010.
The ambassador of Djibouti to the state of Kuwait, Mr. Muhammad Ali Mumin, received the chairman of the Administrative Council and the executive director of the General Authority for Agriculture and Fisheries. The two sides discussed the bilateral relations between the two countries, especially in the field of promoting agriculture. The Djiboutian ambassador in Kuwait expressed the desire of the Ministry of Agriculture to establish a partnership in the cultivation and exportation of Djibouti to Kuwait through the Regional Center for the Export of Livestock in the Merjok. The center expressed its commitment to support the embassy to negotiate with the state of Kuwait, which is responsible for the import and trade in Kuwait. For his part, the official thanked the Djibouti government for its desire, which will contribute effectively to reduce the prices of the founders in the Kuwaiti markets. On last July 17, a fishing boat sank near the port of Djibouti. The fishing boat of Djiboutian origin faced the strong winds of Khamsin, which made the sea extremely dangerous for navigation. The Djiboutian Coast Guard intervened during this incident to assist the crew who floated in the water to bring them safely to the shore. No human victims are to be deplored following the sinking. The Coast Guard commander wishes to renew a call for vigilance addressed particularly to the fishermen, boaters and tourists. Indeed, the period of Khamsin's strong wind is a period when shipping is very risky and dangerous. It is strongly recommended to limit travel at sea, especially in the case of tourists who want to make to their families outings with their families. And to the rest of the world, 60 people arrested in the tourist operations in Burkina Faso. More with Mohamed Aden.
Burkina Faso army announced in a statement that it had dismantled terrorist base in the north of the country at the time when 2 people were kidnapped and killed in the same part of the country. According to the armed forces, the operations began on 8 July 2018 on the basis of intelligence. It allowed the arrest of about 100 people, 16 of whom were detained for further investigations and the others were released after verification. Explosive smugglers and other dangerous material were seized. 3 soldiers were injured during the operation. The announcement came as 2 men were kidnapped and killed on Wednesday in Barabure in the north of the country, according to the witnesses. The attack was attributed to unidentified armed individual arriving on motorcycles. Similar operations in 2017 and early 2018 led to further arrest. Long spread by the armed groups active in the Sahel, Burkina Faso has been confronted for 3 years with frequent and deadly attack and kidnapping in the north of the country.
At the Mandela Day, Secretary General of the UN calls the world to take inspirations from Mandela. More in this video.
UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres has called on the world to draw inspiration from former South African President Nelson Mandela to build a better future. Today, like every Mandela Day, we honor the memory of Madiba, Mandela's clan name, by calling on people all over the world to make a difference as he did, said Mr. Mandela, said Guterres. He understood that we all have in our hand the ability to create a better world, a world where people would be treated equally and equitably regardless of race, faith and gender, he said, declared at an event organized by the United Nations General Assembly on the occasion of the Nelson Mandela International Day. Mr. Mandela is today a model of universal values of peace, forgiveness, humility, integrity, patience, respect and service, Guterres said, adding Madiba has shown that these are not just words or vague ideals, but concrete actions that each of us can take. We can all be humble and respectful. We can all forgive. We can all work to make the world more peaceful. Nelson Mandela International Day is an annual international holiday declared on June 18, the birth date of Mr. Madiba, to honor the memory of this historic figure. This year marks the centenary of Mr. Mandela's birth. Nelson Mandela died in December 2013 at the age of 95 years.
An underground steam pipe exploded and created a huge crater in a street in New York City. More in this video.
A high-pressure steam leak in New York caused an explosion in the Flatiron district of Manhattan. The incident occurred at 6:40 a.m. local time on Thursday in the middle of 5th Avenue. Several surrounding streets have been evacuated as a precaution. A large piece of asphalt has been thrown into the street. No injuries are fortunately to lament.
This is it for Decision. Thank you for being with us and have a wonderful evening.